welcome to the Post-Human Podcast.
Tonight's guest, author, here to promote his upcoming new book, Valor of Valhalla, Martin Kearns.
Hey, how are you, Tim?
I'm very good. Hey, my microphone stopped working. No, it hasn't. Lying piece of shit. It's okay, don't worry about it. We'll just keep recording. It's it's 1 a.m. here. My technology's been on it all day. So anyway, let's talk about your book, because that's what we're here to talk about, not my audio issues.
No problem. So it's a dark urban fantasy. It's the first in a 3-book series. And it's just the basic tropes of an urban fantasy. You've got kind of a reluctant hero in there. He's got a bit of a call to adventure, all of that. But I toss in just all the things I love with myths and folklore, things of that nature, spices up the story for me. And I enjoyed it. The readers enjoyed it. My wife's biased, but she enjoyed it. So
She's biased.
Yeah, she's definitely biased. She can't come in and just say this sucks. Well, I guess she could, and I want her to, but still.
What's the reason that she's so biased? Is it just because it's not up her street?
I don't know, biased just because she's my wife, so she's not gonna come in and hurt my feelings.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
She was one of the first readers.
So the series is called Beneath the Veil. Am I correct?
Well, the series is the Valor of Valhalla. The first book is Beneath the Veil.
Ah, so I've got it the other way around.
It's not your fault though, because I've got a temporary cover up. My kid did a temp cover, and they put the series name on it. I'll just show it to everybody.
Yeah,
that's the one that's on the website right now. So
yeah, that's what I took it off. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no problem. You're doing your research. I saw when you jumped on there.
But I'm a huge fan of mythology, folklore. So we'll kick into the show and talk about what inspired you. What drew you to folklore and mythology, and because it's a strange topic, and I know what draws me to it.
Well, you're in the right geographic area for it. It's in your blood, it's in your DNA. I'm too American to claim I'm Irish. There's too much English flowing through me. But my family hails from County Mayo in Ireland, which is pretty much, one of the western counties over there. And that's where the banshees were roaming the fields and all of that. And it's always been kind of interesting to me to see how other authors pick and choose, and they pull from little things here and there, and the Wendigo and all that stuff, and what they can do with stories with it. And I love it.
I like the way that they have takes on like gnomes and sprites, because most of them, same for like elves and stuff. There's quite a lot in Irish mythology and folklore. It's very strange. It draws me. Just as growing up as a kid, I was always interested in like supernatural things and paranormal. See, I've covered over that well then. Yeah, but then growing up, I sort of went off things and went into a bit of like fantasy stuff. But now I'm a bit older, I look at the conspiracy side of it, and then, which sounds strange for folklore, but I've got my own conspiracies involved in that.
Not really. When you think of Bohemian Grove, right?
Ooh,
something to that owl.
Yeah, Moloch. Yeah.
What's his name?
Moloch.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. See, I'm already on that. Do you? This is going to be one of my first immediate questions, because you've just said Bohemian Grove. Alex Jones, what's your take on him? I ask pretty much all of my guests that question.
That's such a curveball to throw at somebody too, because it's like it's Alex Jones, so you're going to alienate at least one half of the people listening.
Absolutely. Well, it's not my intention half the time.
No, it's fine. It's an honest question too. And honestly, before what happened in Newtown and what happened, kind of the way he portrayed the victims' families in Newtown, I thought Alex Jones was kind of fine. He had his conspiracies. He is the guy who did expose Bohemian Grove. So that's why you were thinking of him, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he like army crawl through the woods and get past security and get some footage?
Well, obviously there's a lot of footage out there. Well, there's a lot of footage, but it's a load of mismatched cut up videos now. But obviously his footage, he snuck in with an English journalist who sort of wandered off or something like that. And then obviously he was in there, and then they watched the ritual and it was an effigy of a fake child that was burning and whatever. And it's a weird, wacky video to watch, especially a bunch of like millionaires doing it in the middle of a woods and elites, so to speak.
He's tough because I think he pulls on the thread. Like he sees them. Some of his ideas have a lot of substance to them, and he starts unwinding those threads. And then he goes full on Alex Jones and his veers a little bit and goes a little crazy with it. Maybe.
Have you ever watched InfoWars?
What's that?
InfoWars. It's his show.
I'm going to turn you up so I don't keep saying that. Yeah, I've watched an episode or two of InfoWars, mostly clips when he's done something outrageous. But
okay.
He's got a format there. It works. It's watchable.
I occasionally when I get the chance to, I'll tune in just to get sort of the latest of what his takes are on, the current narrative of the world, so to speak. It's always his one-sided thing, but a lot of the time is right. There's a weird segue from. Have you watched? Are you a fan of Rogan?
Yeah, I used to listen to Rogan all the time. And now it's more that I don't have time. He puts out
that's my
3-hour podcasts a week. So I used to love listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson on there, and just about anybody who'd go on. He's got a good interview style. He asks questions and he just has a chat, and it works. Alex Jones going on there though with who's it? Brian.
Well, it was Eddie Bravo was the.
Oh, Eddie Bravo, that was great.
And then Tim Dillon as well was the other one.
Yeah. But I don't have any ill will towards the guy. It's just that he can get a little dangerous when he's, when he goes too far. The Newtown stuff left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. He's been on a couple of recent podcasts. The Flagrant, I think it's called Flagrant too, with Andrew Schultz. It's a pretty good podcast. It's pretty wild. He says a lot of more latest wild shit on there. As you can imagine, it's not quite been taken down off YouTube yet. So I'm not sure what's going on in your background. I can hear a lot of. Sounds like there's a Tron machine. Like it sounds very strange. It's like I'm even doing my own sound effects now talking about Alex Jones.
It's not good. It won't be easy to edit out either.
I'm not quite sure what it was. So strange.
I'm vibrating. Is it still going?
No, it's only every so often. It's a bit bizarre. C'est la vie. It's a very loose show. Makes no difference. People don't like it. They can skip forward 10 minutes to whatever's next. Is that a Stephen King box set I see in your background? I can just see the word.
A bunch of his Dark Tower books back there. King, Straub. These are all his Dark Tower ones. The rest of his sets in the basement collection. These are a few other horror writers that are pretty amazing. Here's one of Keelan Patrick Burke's, an amazing writer. He'll write stuff that'll make you think about everything.
I'll have to
keep you up at night.
I'll have to jot that one down.
Oh, he's amazing. Hard Candy, I think, is one of them.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that.
This one over here is Kin, but We Live Inside Your Eyes is a messed up one. And he usually puts out an anthology around Halloween that's also outstanding.
What's your favorite King book?
My favorite King book's got to be Salem's Lot. It's either Salem or The Stand. I'm one of those guys.
I'm rereading Needful Things at the moment.
That's a good one.
It's one of my favorites. It's a cool read because obviously there's like a lot of backstabbing and manipulation, and it's pretty devious. Like, just I'm playing tricks, and not quite tricks, but the build up to, it's just such a good, like, it's a slow like progression, and it just obviously gets a bit more darker and wilder. And
he's one of the few guys who can get away with going slow. starting slow. Stroud can too, actually. But you notice all the new guys, their books are a lot smaller.
Yeah.
These days, you've got to get right to it, or it never happens.
Have you heard of David Wong?
No, I haven't.
Ooh, we should give him a good read. He writes horror, but it's a bit satire. It's a bit tricky, but it's quite funny. It's very humorous, dark, sort of maybe sort of black comedy in a way.
That's right on my alley.
It's pretty damn good. I'll have to say that. It's a good read. I've got a few PDFs of it. I'll just whale it onto you. Again, I've got PDFs of pretty much everything. Not that I bootleg stuff. Just putting that.
We keep sending it to you.
Yeah.
Everybody up on the show.
I should have probably said it that way. Sounds like I've got like hard drives and hard drives of books.
All right, they won't kick in the door for that.
Oh no, there's it's the illegal streaming of the UFC they're going to catch me for. No, again, I'm joking about that one. I don't even get a chance to watch it, but it was funny.
Dana White.
Yeah,
he's the one who's going to come after you personally.
Oh, he will. He's made threat. I do watch the UFC occasionally, and I've seen him make like legitimate threats to people.
Oh yeah, he was mad when they really first started doing it.
Oh yeah, he goes apeshit. He spends millions and millions of his own dollars to counter it, especially lately because it's been the COVID, and now it's coming back with real audiences, and they're obviously trying to protect, their business. And
it is tough to swallow when you have 2 pay-per-views a month or something like that. They're 65 each, and the card's not that strong. I get it. I get why people steal it, but at some point, when we start making real money, we got to pitch in. I was on LimeWire like everybody else back in the 90s.
Yeah, not many people remember LimeWire. That was just full of the Trojan 32 virus. That's all it was. If you wanted the Trojan virus, you go to that place. I'm pretty sure that if you could go there now, you would still get it and probably fuck up all PCs because they wouldn't even know how to defend it. It's such an old school, wow. You could put it on an MP3 player and whack it into someone's computer and gone. LimeWire was great. It was so fun. It was probably it wasn't that. It was Napster. Do you remember that back in the day as well?
I remember Napster. Metallica, was that Lars went after Napster?
Lars Ulrich went to shut them bad boys down. Again, you can't blame them. A lot of money.
Speaking of metal, if I'm going to plug somebody, I got to plug Todd Kiesling. This is his Yellow Kings from one of his books, The Final Reconciliation. It's about a metal band.
Okay.
And a horror. It's good too. It's a good read. I won't give basically any more. We'll give it away. But it's called The Final Reconciliation.
How can they? Oh, but do they play music in the book? That's
no,
what's so
but
strange.
I don't know if he's got like a side thing where you can actually download songs, because I know he jams. And I'm pretty sure he's got a band at his disposal that he plays with. And there is on the back of the shirt, there's a song, there's a set list.
Oh.
I think it's more about the story about what happens at one of their shows and after.
In one of David Wong's books called John Dies at the End, at the start, there's like a fake band called One Armed Sally or something, and they briefly do like a song in there, but it's just nonsense sort of screamo. With just like really mismatched lyrics. But again, there's no real song of that. Oh wait, no, there kind of is, because there was a film.
The movie, they probably did something with it.
Yeah, no, they did. There was a movie and they played it in there. So there is actually a song of that. That's it's amazing what you remember after 15 coffees at 1 a.m.
Yeah, that's got to be brutal for you over there, because if you have any Americans on the show, and I'm on the East Coast, what if you get somebody from California?
Well, I occasionally have to work the other side, but I do have to apologize, because last time we have to apologize to you and the listeners, because this show would have been 2 weeks ago, essentially, or a week or so ago, but I got bumped by one of my guests, and then obviously it got later and later and later, and then I sent you a message, and I was like, oh, this is going to happen again. And so the lightning didn't strike twice. You was waiting for me, and I apologize.
No worries. My wife said the same thing, though. She said you didn't get back to him. What do you expect? I was like, it was like 3.5 hours ago.
Yeah, in my
She was
eyes,
on your side.
it's a lot can happen. I could have got a small show in that time, but it was just because I was waiting for somebody else. I'd had 3 shows that day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've got one after this.
Won't keep you
Yes.
too long, but wow.
No, it's okay. It's all fun and games.
I gotta ask you though, I have a personal question about your the avatar here behind you, the baboon with the third eye. Where did that come from?
Well, I sort of half drew it up on a piece of paper and then came up with a little idea and then passed it on to somebody else, the idea onto somebody else. And they captured it through me just talking to a T. But it's sort of like, well, I think that when we're fucked off and we leave the earth, it's probably going to be overrun by sort of like, highly evolved apes again. And obviously it's just like a little nod to Kubrick as well.
Okay.
The black cube in there and stuff. And there's some little bits in there. And
okay.
It's
You're a big horror fan movie-wise.
horror, sci-fi, pretty much anything. Tonight I was watching a good series. Not to go off topic, but I was watching that Murder Mountain, it was called. And it was a docu-series on Netflix about the like forests where they was growing like the medicinal cannabis and stuff like that during the legalization time. And loads of people just get killed up there and go missing. And it's a pretty fucked up, wild, like documentary, to be honest. I just had a couple of hours and I was like, let's quickly blast this on while we research a million other things.
It gets spooky when they legalized it and those guys were about to lose their livelihood. That's when things started to get a little scary.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of that.
Yeah.
There was people, again, doing it illegally because, they had to test all the cannabis and stuff like that for pesticides, and then that would cost, and then there'd be taxation there. And it just got further and further, packaging. They had to then display the little CA logo. So even if they'd had stuff pre-packaged, they then had to take it all back, throw that all out, get it retested, repackaged. Lengthy, they were saying it was costing loads, and then they would employ people and they'd rip them off, and like they wouldn't then pay people. There was 2 guys that were working there, like trimming for a year, and they just ripped them off. So, like savagery. You're not going to expect nothing back from that. Someone's took a year out, sitting there with a pair of scissors, all fucking. I've been there.
Crazy.
Not very fun. As a writer, what's your process? Because Stephen King was one of those, he'd drink, and during the early days he'd drink and chain smoke cigarettes. And what's your process? I've asked a few authors now.
Cigarettes would help for sure. He even says that in his book on writing. I read that like 10 years ago, that nicotine is amazing for writing, but it's a stimulant. That's why. But mine, a lot of people like to plot and plan. I like to get the idea in my head and sort of go with it. And maybe that's why there's like so many mythological figures and historical figures in the first book, because it just sort of popped in and I let it. And then I just sort of wrote around it and saw how it went. And if it didn't suck, it stayed, and that sort of thing. It just worked. That whole first book just worked. It just sort of flowed out. The second one's a little tougher because I've been thinking about that idea for 10 years, I guess. That might be it.
Do you feel, I want to put it in that way. Obviously, when you're following on a story, it can either go 2 ways. It can either flow beautifully, or you can almost try and outdo yourself, and then almost in doing so fail because you've overwrote things, or you've not followed the same style in which you'd first followed, if that makes sense. Some authors do that, if that makes sense. And that's a very weird.
Well, the hardest thing for a guy who or a girl writes a good novel is to write another one, right? Because now the pressure's on them and stuff. I don't even know if the first one's good. The audience has to tell me that. But I've noticed with the second one, I'm focusing more on the main character a little bit to develop him. Because in the first story really is plot driven, I feel. There's character development, it's all there, but it's more, you get taken away by the tide of the story.
Yep.
And the first one, it's even written at a pace where it sort of allows for that. I don't use a lot of flowery language and massive descriptions in the first one. That's partially because it takes place in the Northeast, besides the parts that take place in the afterlife. What I call in the book, The World Beneath the Veil. But the second book takes place, it begins in Israel, Palestine. There's a foreword in Syria, because that's where things progress or things kind of head. And that's a lot tougher because in my mind's eye, I don't know what that looks like. So I have to do a lot of research, see a lot of pictures, looking at a lot of pictures right now to make sure that I'm depicting the things I'm seeing, or he's seeing the right way, and do it right. Whereas I know what the woods look like in the Catskills. I know what the Adirondacks are like. I know how freaky it is at twilight when you're at Sage's Ravine up the mountains over here, 30 miles north, and things like that. So that's easy for me.
That makes sense. Again, writing about a different area is completely, you've got, well, nowadays you can just Google Earth or VR.
That's true. That is true.
Some aspect, you almost have to live the culture to envelop it and bring it into the tale and story.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. But nowadays you can sort of do that via online, and it's crazy how connected we are, in modern day times.
What I find nuts is that people don't use it.
No.
They use their social media, but I've had people ask me questions. That's a 30-second Google search. Just have at it, learn something, enjoy it.
Do you want to give an example of that?
Oh, geez. I had a kid ask me once about how the tides work, that he was trying to figure out how tides work. I said, I can tell you, but I think you'd probably be able to use that little computer in your pocket and figure it out really fast. And sort of that went into it. And then actually afterward, the article came up about the moon wobble, that clickbait article that was out recently. I guess every 17 years the moon wobbles and it makes the tides a little higher and whatnot. But so I learned something too from his Google search. But
what is that noise?
Just like we have this at our disposal, Are
you using an aux lead?
Not, no. I have the regular laptop mic because I was worried. The only things I have are Bluetooth.
Oh, that might be why.
It's not on. I'm just using a regular laptop.
Some feedback. I've only just worked out what it is now. It sounded like a robot to begin with, but after really listening in, it was a thingy. Yeah. Did you hear lately about the Earth's core? It's sort of it's like a sphere, but it's like warping its shape just a little bit on one axis, which is that's a bit crazy. If you think about that, if it goes a bit too much one way, we're essentially going to, well, maybe you'd think would go with it. The poles would maybe flip again at least.
Which they say would be apocalyptic, not apocalyptic, if the poles just randomly swapped, right? It would definitely be bad Saturday afternoon sort of thing. It probably wouldn't be the end of mankind, right? Humanity would continue. I don't know if the Earth just kind of went whoop a little bit. I don't know how that would work out.
I think the rich would still survive. I think I think maybe Richard Branson, he'll be okay because he's now going to the moon. So, he's going into space all the time. And
is he going to head up there to the moon?
Well, it's Richard. Yeah, he's just been up into orbit, hasn't he? Essentially, but he's going to go to the moon. Of course, he is.
I was saying language. Now they're all going to start one-upping each other because Bezos just went up. But I didn't see any footage. So I don't know if he actually did. Branson saw the video feed.
Could have been CGI.
And who knows what Elon's going to do when he decides he's got to one-up the two of them.
He doesn't really need to because he's just trying to colonize Mars essentially in his own way. He's doing loads of wild shit.
Seen, his minimalist living style that he's been doing?
Yes.
And the cube about the size of this room, 16 by 20 or something.
It doesn't even wear shoes anymore, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just walking around barefoot.
He might be onto something there, Tim.
Yeah, but those little cube, they're like plastic houses, aren't they, essentially? They're just tiny things, and you can't blame him.
Yeah, I mean,
I heard he gets paid in loans. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Get paid in strange. He even said that's how they get. I can't remember where I heard it now. But he gets paid in loans apparently.
I'm not worried about him. He went on Rogan, smoked a joint, and plummeted Tesla stock. Bought all of it. It went back up next week. He made a ludicrous amount of money that way, and I don't know how much money he made from going on and saying Bitcoin's bad. He tweeted out Bitcoin's bad, and it destroyed crypto. I mean, it was bound to happen soon, right? But
I know. Well, it's funny
was a
because
bubble.
I've got some crypto, and I'm currently suffering. So I'm not suffering because I'm still up, but I'm not like I was.
Yeah, it was things were 300-400% for like 15 or 20 coins for a while. It was getting crazy.
Yeah, then it was well, it was around it was around 420 because there was all that hype and then the build up, and it was the great 420 crash of 2021. It was a mouthful. Too many 20s in that sentence. But yeah, it was over like 3 days. I think it just like went up a little bit and then bang, and that was it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're still suffering, but I think it's still. I don't think the coins are ever going to disappear.
There's no reason for them to. It's not like they're invalid or they're bad. They work. They do their jobs.
Well,
blockchain, the idea of blockchain, what I've read about it's smart. Probably would have helped us a lot with COVID supplies and things like that to blockchain tech. Would work out. For listeners who don't know, I guess quick explanation of blockchain is it's a foolproof way to figure out high-low costs and supply versus demands instantaneously via this coin, essentially, right?
Yep. It's pretty much.
So that would have been nice when people were looking for masks and ventilators and such.
Yeah, I mean, AstraZeneca's stock price went up.
Right?
That went, think about that, and Pfizer, that went massive.
That doesn't surprise me. Pfizer. It doesn't surprise me that they tried to sneak in that third dose too. So, oh, we need a booster, and everybody's like, no, I think you want some more money. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Well, it's almost like a yearly thing now as well, isn't it? That they're gonna, for not quite yet, because it's too soon to go. Hey, you need it every year, but maybe within a few years, could be a regular thing.
Who knows? Depends on what goes on with this thing, right? But I know Moderna is going to use the same tech to try to get like a big cocktail flu shot all in one with an vaccine. I know a lot of people are freaked out about that idea. I get it.
I love how we go from folklore to total segue into it was a tangent and a half.
Well, it's urban fantasy, so it takes place in the modern world, and you don't know if you're going into one of those facilities in the next book.
Yeah.
Who knows what kind of human experimentation might be going on?
Well, that's quite a thing that people have always made conspiracies about, and it's come about lately again with cloning, and there was a few years ago where people believed that Avril Lavigne was a clone. And then,
remember that.
And then she's come back again lately, looking twice as young as what she. So bizarre. Like, have you seen a picture of her recently?
No, I haven't seen a pic. I'm going to as soon as this is over.
You'll be shocked. You'll be like, you'll go, that's impossible.
It's not Next Edge like skin cream or anything. It's crazy.
She did like a little promo for the Skater Boy song with Tony Hawk in a video, and that's all I've seen. And I was like, is this old? Is this the original thing? And I was like, no, because there's Tony Hawk looking the same as what he does now. But Avril Lavigne looked like 30 years younger. Like, it was insane.
I don't know how old you are, but I fall down like 3 feet and I bust something. I don't know how many are still skating like that.
I'm 30, so I'm all good at the moment. I get a bit of a fucked up back from sitting in this chair a lot, but that's.
You have to do some yoga when you wake up. Well, you have a kid too. That'll mess up your back as well.
Yeah, he's a toddler, so he's always wanted to jump on you and muck around, and it's fun times.
It's a lot of bending at the waist.
Yeah, well, I don't bend at the waist. That's the worst way to bend.
Yeah, I should probably stop doing that. Actually, based on your reaction, just shows me how dumb I am.
I'm not quite bending at the waist. That's probably
reach over and pick them up.
He's pretty big, and big for 2 as well. He's just turned 2, but he's pretty big, which sucks because he's going to be tall. I'm 5'7", so I know he's going to immediately be taller than me.
Yeah. So how many years do you have before he kicks your ass? Is that what you're worried about?
Well, I don't think that'll be the case, but
I worry about that with my oldest. He's a big boy, so he's three and change. And he's got a little swagger to him. One of these days, he's gonna pop me.
Yeah, you just have to get that in now. Joking there, people. We're not child abusers.
We don't condone child abuse.
No, absolutely not. It's so, to be honest, it's one of the only things where people go so crazy about, but occasionally you do have to give your child a little tiny slap on the hand because they're going crazy,
There are people who still do it, whack on the wrist and stuff if they're doing something really.
Yeah, it's a level. It's you're not smashing.
We still try to avoid that because we see it as a bit of a slippery slope. But we were kids. We were 80s kids. You were a 90s kid. We got the crap kicked out of us. That's the way it worked. We're just trying to figure out a different way. We're very Socratic, but he's getting smarter. That's the problem. So we're going through a line of questioning, and he's like outwitting us.
Oh,
ridiculous!
He's outwitting you.
Yes. He does this thing with my wife where she reads to him at night. We're a big literature family, and he was getting her to read the same book over and over again, and she was going to hit him with 3 stories. He says, well, no, hold on. You read the same story 3 times, so that's only 1 story. So he's already got us, man.
Yeah, that was pre-planned. That was very, very self-meditated. How was he sitting there for about 15 minutes before this story just on his own? Because it seems like that's what he was doing, sitting there contemplating the next step. Yeah, I see my son doing that. He's not quite cunning as yet, but there's little moments where he does get the better of us in ways, but just because he's very fast, super speedy. So again, you can leave a room for a split second and boom, he's gone. His climbing skills are the worst. Like you get like ropes, shit like that. He can do ropes, which is like climbing walls. Like me and my family were all climbers, so fall on that. But like you can take him to like a climbing wall at a park, pretty much a piece of cake.
Oh, yeah, he's already doing bare walls.
Yeah, that'll be like when he's 4, getting his fingers between the brick cracks.
Nice.
There's people that do that now. They're fucking nuts. Like there's people that climb skyscrapers and who take selfies off cranes, and dudes are nuts.
One guy, I don't think you can call it bouldering, say rope, so I don't know exact terminology, but one of the best climbers in the world just did one of the hardest climbs that's never been done. And I guess in the video, he's like jumping around like crazy afterward, and everybody's having a heart attack. So it looks like he's about to fall to his death, and he's just relying on the anchor to hold him while he's celebrating.
Who is it? Alex Honnold?
I guess. I don't know. Follow it, but is that him?
Like I'd assume so. He's got the.
If you look at the last 2 holds that he was on, it's on. You can't see what he was holding.
Yeah, he's like nuts.
Or something.
He was on Rogan once.
Oh, okay.
And there was a story about him free soloing up a mountain, and and he was going up there and he'd forgot his chalk. And halfway up there was 2 people climbing, and it was like, "Have you got any chalk?" Because I forgot my bag, and then just grabbed the bag and then climbed up, and then left the chalk bag there.
Oh, he left it for him?
Yeah.
Yeah, later. That's crazy.
But to get halfway up. And if I mean, I'll climb myself, nowhere near on that level. But if I was there,
I have friends who do it, so I get it. But I'm a dwarf than a climber.
Yeah, I couldn't.
under it.
Well, I just couldn't imagine it. You know, just being halfway up on rope, and then some guy comes by you. Oh, I left mine at the bottom, and you go, "What?"
Yeah, of course you can have it. Please don't fall.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
There's some really scary stories that he's done. That he's told. Like even the documentary Free Solo. It's you know, it just makes you sweat. You know, it just physically makes your hands sweat talking about it, and it's just horrible. Makes you nervous.
Something cool though about watching just ordinary people, because you see their backstory, you see they're human beings, and they're doing extraordinary things. And I think that's just the best. That's the best television. The only kind of reality TV I really like these days. We watch our little trash TV every once in a while. The Jersey Shore. All going to
oh, you a Jersey Shore fan?
Oh, we need it sometimes to feel better about ourselves. We just watch them. We're like, okay, we're not like that.
Oh, okay.
Just
what was it I was watching the other day that was it was like a sketch show, and he was saying there's like a Warsaw Shore or something like that. It's like in the middle of Poland.
I don't know.
I think there was a show. Oh, I know the guy. He was in excuse me, he was in Community. Do you know the blonde guy?
The Soup, Joel McHale.
Yeah, him. Joel McHale. He's got like his own show, and he did like little bits in there. And he was mentioning about like must have been weekly. And he was mentioning like there was the different shores and taking the piss, and then he said that it goes to that different extreme that there's a Warsaw Shore, which is bang in the middle of Poland. there's not even a coastline for like whatever it is, like amount of miles, and it's just like preposterous.
You get away with it too.
It's just so funny. Like the 15-second clip that he did was just outrageous.
Was he doing that in the US? Because like you already told you,
at
geography. So
yeah, it was on Netflix. It was.
They're looking for Eastern Europe and things like that people think it's on the Mediterranean at this point.
Yeah, till you walk outside the villa, and it's just cliffs, mountains.
Yeah, and deep forest there too, right?
Yeah, that's
air fuel.
It's not that far from the Black Forest, really, is it? I think my geography might be a bit off there. I think the Black Forest is like Bulgaria, isn't it?
Okay.
Don't know. I think it's.
I know
might
where
span quite a few of these places.
I know where the Carpathians are.
Yeah.
I know where those are, but after that, I'm pretty much useless.
Vigo was from there.
Yeah, there you go. Ghostbusters 2 plug right there. Nice.
Yeah, that was a little Easter egg moment.
There's a short story by Saki H. Monroe called The Interlopers. It mostly teaches the high school kids. It's got that Shirley Jackson, the lottery kind of vibe to it. A little punch in the gut at the end. Two guys. Do you want me to spoil it for you?
Yeah, you can spoil it. It's okay.
All right, it's a quick read, and two guys are in the woods. One's trespassing on the other's land for whatever reason he feels is valid, and they both come into sight of each other. They're about to kill each other, and then a tree, because there's a storm going, a tree falls and pins them, and they sit there, jazz. They drink a little wine together, they become best friends, and they're waiting, and they see the search party getting closer. And as they get closer, at the end of the story, you find out it's not the search party, but it's wolves, and that's how he ends it.
Oh.
And nails you with it at the end.
Well, that's again, it's almost a segue itself, because wolves, vampires. What's your thoughts on vampires? Because there's a lot of graves that are, there's pictures of them, and there's huge fuck off cages over them, and there's when they've looked in them, there's actual stakes in people, and
Oh yeah.
You never seen these pictures
over there? No, I've never.
No, this is like again, we're going back to the country of like Transylvania and
okay, so we're
Eastern Europe and
yeah, we're going to Romania. That's where the original Transylvania is. I know that because I have a friend from the town where
Oh.
where Vlad, I guess, was, and where that sort of origin came from for Bram Stoker. But my thoughts on it are there's so much in so many different traditions. There's a succubus, there's an incubus, there's sort of vampire in Australia. The Aboriginals had one. You have it everywhere. It makes you wonder. You can sit there and say it's all crap, but at the end of the day, I don't know. When you think about that kind of thing, is there something to it? I don't know.
I'm putting a wild theory out there that it's do you know, like, again, we was talking about fucking about with like genetics and stuff like that. Just, it was a little 2-second. Well, obviously there's thoughts that aliens did that to us, conspiracies. And then there's another thought behind that was, there's depictions of like creatures back in the day that were part human or part animal and mixed, like chimeras, and that they were basically the aliens' mistakes, so to speak. Obviously they made humans, and then they was just pissing around with other creatures and whatever, and then we was fighting them and whatever, and then there was the Great Flood, which wiped most of them out, and then maybe a couple left over, but then over tens of thousands of years, these little tales and stories, and depictions of things, especially in Egypt as well, and Greece and Rome and shit like that.
You've got it all over. That's, now you're really in the nuts and bolts of the story. This is the heart beneath the veil and the whole valor. Well, valor valhalla really has a lot to do with what the hell it's all about. There's a big thread of that. But we were talking about the demigods, and then there's the Watcher Angels, the Nephilim. You know that term? That's the Watcher's kids with humans. They're the same concept as a demigod. They have too powerful to exist, hence the flood. So you're getting all of those in there. I mean, it's there. And who's to say you couldn't mimic that with genetic engineering these days too, which would be kind of interesting if they were to figure all that out. Hitler was trying.
Yeah. He was doing some crazy shit.
Yes, he was.
His what was the supernatural group that he had? There was a name that he called, there was a special name for them as well, and they just literally just went around seeking out supernatural and occult shit, and even that makes you think. And they was looking into weird shit, and there was conspiracies that they'd been contacted by aliens, and
they were going crazy. They were looking for the Ark. They're literally the Holy Grail. They were looking for the Holy Grail. They were going after the spear. I don't know what they found. I know a lot of it made its way to the Vatican.
Yeah, I always think that as well. The Vatican's got too much shit that we're never going to know about, documents included.
Oh yeah. Well, their library is one of the coolest things to look into and watch about, because they don't let anybody in.
No.
In advance, what you want to go see, they have to approve it.
Yep.
But you can, and so if you're just like, I want to see if you have this, they won't tell you if they have it or not. Cool.
The custodians, I think they're called. The people that look over it. They're again like weird people, like passed on, in the family kind of deal. I've heard anyway. I'm sure they let some jobs out to the public, but not for the, you can control them, that central heating to make sure the books are at perfect temperature, that kind of job. But you can't go in there, you need special access, level 9. That kind of deal,
I don't know what they've got there, but they probably know if there's vampires or not.
No, well, they've rewrote so much shit. I've recently started to reread the Bible because I want to piece together that and some of my own bullshit crap that I like to think about, just to compare it and maybe go, maybe
there's no harm in it.
Maybe start some new conspiracies.
There you go. I mean, if you read the Quran afterward, if you do Old Testament, New Testament, Quran, it totally pulls everything together. It really does. It shows the triple layer cake that is the Abrahamic traditions, and it's awesome, to be honest.
There's loads of scriptures and stuff as well. It's not just like the Old Testament, the New Testament. There's tons and tons of scriptures and stuff like that. So it's not quite as small
No,
as
not
it's
anymore.
Believed to be. I mean, you know, even
They,
like
they
the Book of
excluded a
Enoch
lot, right?
was the Book of Enoch was one of those, which was what, you know, why did they leave that out? And then we found out about it.
I think it was too there was too much of they try to move away from like the pagan ideas. You don't get the golem.
Yeah.
The Hebrew golem isn't really in the Old Testament and things like that, but that was a big thing. Enoch has there's a lot of allusions to obscure angels too. Uriah is big in the Book of Enoch as well, and he's one of the most obscure of the archangels and things like that. And I think that if you want to go into the Dead Sea Scrolls, you're gonna have a ball because it really does blast open all the cool stuff you want to think about.
Well, it's just amazing how they was found, you know, just in a cave by chance because some kid was throwing stones.
Right? It is nuts. It could still be there. It could be there in 100 years, 400 years.
Threw a stone, heard a smash. Let's go and have a look. Turns out it's, you know, the greatest fucking well, it's probably one of the biggest finds, you know, to modern day in a way. One of them. The Rosetta Stone, that's pretty big as you know as well.
Big one.
You know, like that. You can't really knock that one.
Without the Rosetta Stone, we wouldn't have a lot of what we know about Egypt, right?
Yeah, it would be doomed. That even then, you know, it was two. I think it was an English guy or a French guy, and his son that did that, something like that. That cracked the code, the Rosetta Stone.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure. It's a problem. I've taken that much shit. It's always overspill. You know what I mean? Like
There's a lot. As long as we don't pretend to be experts on it, it's all right.
No.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I'm an expert on conspiracies, but I just read too much and look at far too many documentaries that are meaningless.
Yeah, that's true too. They do have some quacky ones, and they have ones that are intentionally misleading that I don't like. But for the most part, I think conspiracy is healthy. I was super into HARP for a while.
Yeah, HARP. I haven't spoken about that at all yet. HARP's a very cool one because that's real.
Really cool. Yeah, it's 100%. Like the facilities are real, right? We don't know if they're actually doing anything crazy with it, but there's a lot of YouTube videos.
I got a story about that one though.
Let's hear it.
Years and years ago, again, I think this is a fact. It might just be bullshit, but apparently they used a machine. They used a machine in London to clear the skies during Princess Diana's funeral during a song, and I'm not quite sure if that's true or not.
Possible. That sounds very much.
But that was the only reason that people also started to get on the conspiracy train of it. Because of that story. I think it was to do with Paul McCartney or something like that.
Maybe it was just Paul McCartney. Flew away the clouds.
His Majesty.
Yeah.
Couldn't really say that in that setting. But
all right. But as far as the living Beatles go, Ringo, Paul. But
I've never really been a big fan of the Beatles. I don't know. They're good. They're catchy, and I could imagine like what Beatlemania would have been like in a way. You know, I'm guessing it would have been wild.
We're too far removed. I mean, if you can listen to it and appreciate it in the same way you can listen to and appreciate jazz and enjoy that and stuff, but when I get into a mode, I listen to my '90s music because that's what's in my DNA.
Yeah, I like a lot of '90s. Well, I listen to a lot of anything really.
I'm not going to say that Soundgarden's better than the Beatles, but Soundgarden more probably.
What about Smash Mouth?
Oh, geez. They're actually pretty good live. I went to like a Promptu show and they were there and they slayed it. It was cool. A lot of energy, kind of like a Beastie Boys show.
Beastie Boys would have been cool, man.
Yeah.
See, that's I think that's all it is. If they've got the energy to carry the show and it's a good show,
yeah,
it makes no difference. What's your
Yeah,
thoughts
there you
about
go.
like flat Earth? Let's get into the wild bullshit.
Let's have some fun. Flat Earth, I can't get behind. I can't. That one's too tough. I've been in a plane. I've seen the curve of the Earth. Yeah, like some crazy chip in me.
Sorry, my lighting's gone really strange on my camera. So bizarre. Not that I use it much,
For
but
me.
no, just for me. It just went really dark. It's like
Oh yeah,
indoors. It makes no sense.
it focus on the baboon changed a bit too. I wonder what happened.
Well,
More light coming in.
I'm not a fan of flat Earth, but hollow Earth is a bit of a different one because there's like
more chops.
yeah, there's like caverns and stuff. There's big caves.
Ooh, if you like that, Children of the Fang. John Langan's an amazing horror writer, contemporary horror writer.
I've heard that name before.
I wish I had the copy down here because the cover is cool as hell too, but it's upstairs because I finished reading it a couple months ago and I just let books like pile up on my bed. Hollow Earth stuff he's got going in there.
I'll have to write that one down.
Yeah,
Brotherhood
of the Fang.
Yeah, I might have read some of this stuff because the name rings a bell. Excuse me, the name rings a bell, but yeah, again, overspill. Have you ever read any of the? Well, first of all, have you seen The Last Kingdom?
Last Kingdom is with that's what's his face, the actor in it. That's the series, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the guy who's retaking the UK from the Danish.
Yeah, that's the one.
Right? Yeah, I've seen him. I saw the first season.
Have you read any of those books?
I didn't even know they were books.
I would highly advise them.
If there's valhalla in the name of my series, I should probably.
Yeah, it's obviously the Last Kingdom series by Bernard Cromwell.
Okay.
I think there's about 13 books by now. There's quite a lot. I think I'm up to date.
Wow.
there might be a couple less. There's a lot. I know that much.
You like that type of storyline of the Norsemen heading over?
Yeah, they weave a little bit of fact into there and a little bit of bullshit, so it makes it a bit entertaining.
You want to do 70-30 on fact to bullshit with 70% being bullshit. There's a great, if you're into the animated stuff on Amazon Prime, there's one called Vineland Saga.
Yeah, that's the see, I tried to watch it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was a swing and a mess. I think I wasn't in the right frame of mind at the time.
Well, it's awesome. It's heavy on the violence, not great on the story.
Yeah, I know there's the violence I was happy with. It's dubbed as well, isn't it? Which is I wasn't keen on.
I always do subs when it's like that.
Yeah, I wasn't hugely keen on the dubbed version. Sorry,
Gotcha.
the sub. Sorry. I probably should give it another go. It's just I like cartoons, but some animes they're a bit tricky. My partner
other one
loves them, so they're on all the time, and I'm like another one, and they all look the same. It's just two guys fighting with special moves. What the fuck is that all about?
No, I hear you. That whole shonen stuff. You gotta kind of get past it and get to the nuts and bolts of the story, right?
There isn't. I don't think there is one. Every time I walk in, it's just like super something, and then he'll do his move. Then there's another move. End of the show. I'll come in again.
What did you
same thing.
think about the good guys? What is it? No, it's not the good guys. What's the name of that show? Something Boys, the superhero one, live action show. They're all shits.
Yeah, I think it's just called The Boys.
Oh, yeah, The Boys, right?
Yeah, I've not got round to it yet. I've been recommended it twice.
That's all right. That one and another couple of good ones, but still, we can sit here and name shows for hours.
I think it was. I can't remember who recommended it to me. Have you seen Invincible?
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah. I think we can drop the spoilers for that now. It's been out for ages.
Yeah. That's is it J.K. Is it
J.K.
Simmons?
Simmons? Yeah.
He's one of the best, man. When I heard his voice, I was like, yeah, I'm locked into this.
He the last Spider-Man cameo.
Yep.
Right at the very end. It's so annoying because I'd watched the Far From Home. Is it Far From Home? because there's another one.
Stereo, yeah.
Yeah, there's another one, Something Home, as well. It's coming out soon.
Homecoming, I think.
But obviously, I'd watched that, and then I'd forgot about the after credits, and then I'd rewatched it about 3 weeks ago, and then I was like, oh my god, that's fucking J.K. Simmons. I was like, how did I miss this again?
Should bring it back as much as they can. He's the only reason we watched that new movie that came out with Chris Pratt, the like summer blockbuster thing.
Yeah,
Is this? I'll watch this, sure. He's just in.
It's just something about him, you know.
Yeah, he's good. Juno, what was he in, the UFO movie Dark Skies? That was a good movie.
Yeah, that was a sick movie. I watched that not long ago as well.
And you got a baby monitor now too, so you've got that going on in the back of your mind. I'm sure you're watching the monitor. Freak you out?
Not really.
Oh, dude, the curtain moves, and I'm like, oh, what's that? I'm gonna fend for himself. I'm not going in there.
I think the worst film to do that was years ago was The Fourth Kind.
That was a good one too.
With the weird owl-looking creatures. That was a bit more of a cerebral one because that was based on true events, so to speak.
When they tried to make it seem real, the fake documentary part seemed real. They lost me a little bit. It's just like, just own it. Just make it. It's fiction or it's not. Come on. I liked it. I saw that in the theaters a long time ago.
There was another one I was gonna. I was trying. My God, my fucking throat. This is a problem with coffee sometimes. Coffee and milk. It's
dries you out. It's a cool mug.
Yeah, I need to get some more mugs. I need to get like my own. That's what we need. I need to get one with that monkey on it.
It's some merch out there. I'd buy that.
Yeah, cool. I'm going to get on that.
I'd buy that. We'll sell at least one.
I'll sell at least. I'll see them in 3 years' time. I'll be selling them for like 50p each. Do you know the way people used to buy their own like CDs to distribute them, and after they give them out, and there's stacks of them. I'll end up with like 100 cups.
Yeah, don't overorder.
I'll be leaving them in places, like just giving them away, going to restaurants and just putting them down and walking out.
Your tip
Casually. There's another series that that I forgot about, and I'm now 5 weeks behind. Rick and Morty. It's been out for 5 weeks somehow, and I didn't even realize till 3 days ago.
Supposed to be some quality stuff too. My wife and I, same deal. We just found out too.
I don't even know how it slipped completely through the net. I think it's 5 weeks because we're on episode 5.
Only got
And
they do weekly Wikipedia thing to see what we missed.
Yeah, they're very good.
One episode a week, right, on Adult Swim. So that's why we don't do cable anymore. We're those kinds of people now.
Can't you do it online?
Got like 4 streaming networks.
Oh man, what you got?
I do Netflix, Prime, Hulu, Disney Plus.
Oh, Disney Plus.
And brutal.
I've heard there's loads of good stuff on there, but someone was recommending. Said the dinosaurs were on there, like from back in the day.
I would watch that again. That was a good show, and that ended grim note, man. The final episode of that show was the apocalyptic comet or asteroid came in.
No, I didn't.
That's how they ended the show. They all died.
You just broke my soul.
Sorry.
No way. Is that what happened?
Yeah,
really?
I mean, yeah, that show was like, it was, we were young.
That with an apocalypse?
I think so.
No way. That's savage.
They used to do stuff like that to us all the time back then. Do you remember? I saw somebody talking about it today. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
It's messed up. Christopher Lloyd gets rolled over with a steamroller in that movie.
Yeah.
5 years old, like, what's going on?
Have you got round to watching the new Space Jam yet? Space Jam?
Yeah, I probably won't either.
No, I've not yet.
We're over LeBron. I'm not a huge basketball fan as it is, but I like college ball. They're still hungry. NBA is too much pageantry for my taste. And Jordan's always going to be the GOAT. LeBron's great. I'm sure he's amazing. Maybe better than Jordan, whatever. But in my mind, that's Space Jam.
Yeah. It's a shame that they are rebooting it in a way, because that's going to happen. But I like the controversy when it came out about Lola Bunny. Is that the one?
Oh yeah,
obviously.
the girl.
Yeah. There was people everyone complained, like straight people, gay people, you name it. Like every culture on the planet complained because they was making her flat chested, which was so bizarre. Like,
Yeah, you're not going to please anybody with that.
yeah, it was one of the only moments where the whole world got together for a brief second on Twitter to just go fire at people. It was like, what are you doing?
You don't want to be in the crosshairs to that either. If you come with everybody on Twitter, there's so much hatred being stung around. I can't even go on Twitter without ducking and like, okay, gotta be careful in here. People are getting offended.
Yeah, I just tend to avoid that and just post random bullshit, or I don't know. I was like,
you're insulated because you own it. You're who you are. The people on Twitter who get into it are like the horror community recently got into it about what is it? Trigger warnings on books and for audiobooks. And the people were like, what are you fucking crazy?
Trigger warning. That's the point.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's more spoiler. So that's what they thought. I'm not giving my opinion because I don't want to start up this stuff again. And I didn't dive in when I saw it. And on the other side was, people who are saying, no, it's justifiable. There's people who've had trauma. So if you're going to have something horrendous happen in a book, you should give the disclaimer. It's like, I get both sides, but having a massive argument about it, like ending relationships, there were people who were like severing. It was crazy.
How could you end your relationship based upon that? Like,
like a work relationship? Like people, I'm going to get rid of my editor.
Like yeah.
Right? Like that kind of thing. That's nuts, right? You know how hard it is for people?
Well, I mean, the few people I've spoke to, it is a tricky industry, publishing, and it's, it is what it is. I wouldn't want to do it. But I couldn't imagine the backlash over horror books is, if you don't like it, just don't read it. What are you doing?
What I loved about them in the past is, well, even still now, they're still pretty solid. It's a good group. They're pretty supportive of each other, and they know their stuff. They know their roots. They've got their Carpenter. God forbid they ever reboot the Thing. It's going to be talking about people hating on something. I can't imagine them getting that right.
I don't know how they'd be able to reboot the Thing. That would be, well, they did. They did it. They did the second one, didn't they? In a way. They did it.
Guillermo del Toro might be able to pull it off, but other than that, I don't know.
He could pull it off easy.
Is he doing he's doing the Mountains of Madness? What is it? The Lovecraft story? It is Mountains of Madness.
Yeah, something like that.
I think he's doing that. And that's gonna be hard to pull off too.
Did you see The Color of Space with Nicolas Cage? That's a good one.
How many movies has he been in this year?
All of them?
Some of them are gems, right?
Some of his roles are really good, but some of them is just Ghost Rider 2.
Yeah, that was because he's didn't pay his taxes. Pay your taxes, kids. That was brutal. My battery's going low, so we're about to get the real view. You're getting moved. I hope it doesn't bug you too much.
No, it's okay.
And back over.
You're not the first
reality behind me now.
You're not the first person to be on the move. I've had a guest go completely outside with his laptop and go and have a smoke midway through. It's all good.
It sounds pretty cool. Get behind that idea. But as far as all that stuff goes, pulling off eldritch horror, that kind of supernatural stuff, anything psychological, super hard to pull off correctly. And The Thing was definitely psychological.
It's one of Kurt Russell's best films, though.
Probably is. I don't know, that overboard for me. I'll talk. We're gonna throw something at me. Kurt Russell for sure. Escape from New York, right? Big Trouble in Little China.
That was the next one I was going to mention. That's an amazing film. Like, it's so funny as well. It's humorous at the start with the three ninjas and they're all doing weird shit. Like, so fucking. But it's such a bizarre film. It's so weird. Like, there's these little scenes that are like outrageously funny. But you're like, this is an action like sci-fi horror in a way. It's such a weird caliber of film.
Whoever was pumping money into that thing must have gotten nervous at some point. Wait, it's gonna float and have eyes all over it? What? There's a monkey. Remember that guy?
You a Cronenberg fan?
trying to think of
David Cronenberg.
David Cronenberg, director. Yeah.
He did.
No.
Oh shit! He did The Fly for a start.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. The Fly.
Scanners, I think.
Scanners. So this is why these all came out when I was like
The body
2 years old.
did the
2 years
body
old.
gore films.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd definitely say I'm a fan though. I love The Fly. Quality one. Vintage Goldblum.
What about B movies? Because obviously that's kind of
Movies.
low budget.
We're blockbuster generation, so I was going into Blockbuster, picking up like Thanksgiving and those movies, and going home and watching them with my 5 friends. He's a stand-up comedian now. He was so funny to watch those damn movies with. He would rip into Tom Sizemore for some reason all the time. I don't know why.
Was he a comedian?
He's a comedian now. Yeah, I don't want to
Who's
name
that?
this kind of publicity.
Name him.
His name's
I'm joking.
Dan Saint Germain. He's funny as hell. He's got a couple thumbs up on iTunes.
I always like looking into comedians because I'm a huge comedy fan.
You like him too. He's gritty. He's got some funny, dirty humor.
Have you ever watched Kill Tony?
No.
Ooh, it's like a very good podcast.
Okay.
Very good. YouTube drops every Tuesday morning, something like that. For me, it does anyway, because that's when I'm getting up to watch it.
Yeah.
I strategically get up to watch it. But they obviously Tony Hinchcliffe, obviously the comedian, and Brian
I've seen
Redban.
him on road.
They just do like a sort of podcast where they have like guest comedians on like a panel, and then they'll have like someone come on and do 60 seconds, and then they'll like interview them and whatever. It's pretty cool. It's very, very funny. Especially when it fails, you know, and you get like homeless people come on and shit like that. It's
Wow.
There's a murderer on there once. It was crazy.
What?
Yeah.
All right, so I can imagine that probably caused him a bit of a legal
something like that. I think he was a murderer. Some crazy shit. But the show's been going for like years, so you can't not expect it to happen.
Yeah.
No, not in this day and age. We always
Tony Hinchcliffe, though. I think last time I heard him on a podcast, he was with Rogan. They took mushrooms, got on a plane. They were in first class, and they did like a 3-hour podcast coming back from a UFC event, maybe in Korea or something. And they were just out of their minds. He's funny though.
Did you hear of the Rogan and Duncan Trussell when they went to do the they did the Center for Disease Control of the CDC?
Oh, God.
They went. They basically just got super high, talked for like 4 hours or something in the departures lounge whilst waiting for their plane, and then went to the CDC super high, and obviously then had to do just walked around the CDC, like where the plague is and all that shit, high as fuck. And there's people walking around in spacesuits and like a wild, like it's.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it'd be one of the places you'd love to go, just to go, oh, you know.
Yeah.
Anthrax is behind that door and whatever.
Yeah,
and...
I'm good. I've read The Stand. I'm fine. I don't need any more of that.
What do you think of the new Stand, the remake series they did?
What I like about it is they made, like, they had a plan, right? And they stuck to it. They went, we're going to cut out the beginning. We're going to start here. We're going to focus on these things. We're going to get Skarsgård, which was a mistake. Sorry, you ever?
Only thing that did it for me was Skarsgård.
You liked him in it?
Yeah.
Oh, when he was at the end, the only time I felt like he was in character as Flag was at the end with the lightning and all that going on. That to me was Randall Flagg. And that's probably because I'm a Dark Tower fan. He pops up all through that series.
Yeah, he does, yeah. The Man in Black.
Yep, Man in Black, Martin O'Dim, all that.
He's got loads of names in there, yeah. There's a few.
He's good. He's like this sort of.
Ooh, I think we've lost contact there. Hello. Technical difficulties.
We can wrap up though. I know you got another show.
Yeah, no, we're all good for a little bit. My show's not till for another. Like I make sure that I leave 4 hours in between the gaps, just because my longest show has been 4 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was with a game show host. That was a crazy one. A lot of topics. Yeah, this Skarsgård. I'll just cut this straight in, which is easy. That was too much talk about the walking dude. Then that was the problem.
Oh yeah.
Was too much talk about him. He was using his mysterious powers, and that was it. He altered shit through the multiverse and fucked up Zoom.
Maybe that's what it was. That's what it was. But you defended him, so I'm glad he let us come back on. That's probably because it was the saving grace for you.
My defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame that they. I mean, you made a good point that they just cut the start because it's not really needed. We knew what was going on. You know, you could tell. In modern day times, you don't need a 40-minute backstory about how it got out because human stupidity solves that issue. You know, in the first few seconds of the film.
We've had a few of those incidents in the last few years for sure.
What, acts of human stupidity?
Yeah, I would say, right? You can do anything.
Well,
we're just watching the Gulf of Mexico on fire, right? I think that qualifies. The methane burning.
The methane.
There was an oil rig out in the Gulf of Mexico, and I guess there was a methane leak from the pipeline. There was just this big circle of fire in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. They're burning off the methane.
Burning it off.
Yeah. And you're just watching these boats circling this fire in the middle of the ocean. It's nuts.
It's so funny when you hear that they have to burn it off because it's like, how long's that going to take? They've had one in the middle of like the desert that's been burning for like 30, 40 years or some shit like that, haven't they? As well.
Easy. I don't know. They might have one. I know Russia's got a big one that they've had running for a long time. That might be the one.
Yeah, well, think about all the crazy shit that they've had near there, you know?
Imagine all the crazy people they've thrown in there, right?
Crazy people.
Maybe not even crazy people, all the crazy shenanigans of throwing people in there instead of balconies.
I was watching a documentary the other day. Well, it was with my son. It was just like it had animals on there, and it was like might have been like Natural Planet or something like that. I don't know. And it was then talking about this alien-like desert because of like the heat and the sulfur and shit like that, and like the big pools of acid, and it just looked alien-like. And I was saying all the missing bodies in the world are probably in there. Like, you ain't seen shit. It's like instant dissolvable. It's like boric acid everywhere, and it's crazy. Like,
be a good way to get rid of some dirty laundry.
You got any thoughts on Antarctica? You seem like you might know a little bit about it.
Well, about the like Nazi bases and stuff.
Yeah, like
I don't doubt it for a second. It was sort of the moon back then, right?
Yeah, no one can own Antarctica as well, which is strange.
Interesting treaty, but doesn't stop us from just planting flags and starting bases up, right?
Yeah, I mean, they say that they're there now monitoring, you know, global warming and shit like that, but I don't quite think they was doing that when the Germans were there because they didn't really know about it.
Probably not. But they don't have definitive proof. There's a great YouTube channel called Bedtime Stories that does a good one on Antarctica and the German maybe it's a destroyer or something that wound up there or was warding people away from there. I don't know which country's navy had chanced upon it, but they did, and it may have been Australia. And there was just a destroyer hanging out in the waters of Antarctica, and they got close and they got maybe a shot across the bow and a warning over the radio, and they figured out it was German and all that. So,
did you ever hear the Admiral Byrd story?
I have not.
About him, there was a pilot called Admiral Byrd who flew over Antarctica, and then flew into a big hole apparently, and then went into the earth. And obviously there is a hole in Antarctica, but maybe his story's a bit bullshit, but you don't know. But apparently flew in there, met some aliens, and then they lived down there, which is it's a strange.
Can't discount it because the Tic Tac video came out, and you're tracking all that stuff that this thing went from 80,000 feet to 50,000 feet in a second, accelerated 2,000 miles an hour in like a second, went into the drink, right? Then it hit the water.
Yeah, went straight in.
Once you have that, you can't say no to anything. So that bird may have flown into the hole.
Recently, though, in this country, said they're starting to test underwater drones that can come up in the air and down, which is quite funny. All of a sudden they're going, we've got these drones that can do it. Well, why don't you say that when you made them, allegedly?
Yeah.
There's a lot of patents out at the minute. The Americans have patented some sort of weird UFO type craft, which is very strange.
They're flying without using lift. That's when you know we've reached something new, right?
Well, they can't.
Yeah.
I think maybe the stuff with Elon might just be a show.
Possible. From watching the Falcon 9s land and stuff like that, though, you can definitely say that there's some shady stuff going on with their cameras all the time. Ground videos now for that, though. Those things are going up and coming back. And he did the Falcon Heavies. The coolest ones lately have been the Starship, though.
Yeah,
I've
that's cool.
My kid, it's cool, and then watching it fail and blow up, it's been cool too.
I like how Eddie Bravo was always saying there was just CGI, like all the pictures.
Yeah. He's a hell of a jujitsu guy too, man. But he is out there with some of his ideas. He goes like, you're like, okay, I'm with you, and then he just launches into another stratosphere.
He's all in, which is is all in.
That's why I like reading these stories. These aren't about what's going to happen on Thursday. I like fantastic stuff. Those ideas are pretty awesome. Even if he truly believes them, that's one thing. To each their own, right?
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories.
Well,
a lot are true.
When you write, obviously Stephen King does like it's kind of got a multiverse in a way based around Maine. Obviously, with you writing a trilogy, have you ever thought about doing some sort of mythology, sort of ethos behind all that?
I'll lay the seeds. You got to be good, and I hope
it's very
good. Yeah,
takes a while.
I mean, there's little cameos. It's in the Tommy Knockers.
Yeah. There's tons.
Crazy little paragraph, right? It's just there. He's in the Kennedy assassination book. I always get the title wrong because I never remember the damn date. It's 11/27/63.
Yeah.
Or 26. The day Kennedy shot. That there's a little cameo from it in that too. But he's sleeping when the guy goes through Darien, Maine.
Children of the Corn references the stuff in the woods as well, which is a strange one. Pet Sematary does as well. Sorry.
Yeah, Pet Sematary's got another great one too. It's got an allusion to insomnia, and he names that after the fates, the three fates. So you get, or is it insomnia? No, insomnia has an allusion to Pet Sematary. It's got Gage's shoe.
Yeah, there's the characters as well. There's a lot of them that show up. Like he uses the what's the place called? Juniper Hills. Like there's a couple of people that reoccur that get mentioned about. I think a couple of them are in Needful Things that gets mentioned, and there's a bit of a nod to like Juniper Hill there, where even Henry Bowser it's got sent there, and it and stuff like that. Is it Bowser?
Those are good ones. And to be able to pull that through a horrendous drug and alcohol addiction, to be able to keep that thread going with all of his stories, that takes a lot of talent that a lot of people are never going to ever be able to reach. There's some good writers today, though, that have a mythos. Laird Barron, I talked about earlier, has one with Old Leech, it's like a deity. There's a couple of sort of Lovecraftian sort of gods that run through. But he's doing something cool right now. I don't know what he's up to, but I know he's tying in. He's got this detective style series of novels that he's writing that really had nothing to do with his mythos, but you're starting to see the threads there kind of now.
Ooh, okay.
Interesting location. So he's starting to tie them in. And it just takes talent. If you throw as many myths and things like that at a story as I have with this series, it's going to be possible. And if it's worthy, if it's a story that keeps itching and isn't dead after the third book, it'll come back in some way. There's also, so in the first novel, there's an influx of demons into the Northeast when one of the antagonists, Lilith, is trying to get rid of the main character. That's about as spoilery as I'll get with it. And I don't have, it's 90,000 words, the novel. So that's about as hard as you can get. So I can't get into all the crap that's going on in the wood. This hiker, what happened when this guy got home, what was hiding in his garbage can. So I've got that idea to write a short story anthology about maybe a couple of entities that got up to no good sort of thing. And we'll see what happens there. So there's the thread of it. Maybe there is a mythos coming out of it. Who knows?
I always like to ask it just because people sometimes brush over it, and it always draws people. It's what draws me to Stephen King quite a lot, because you just never know when one of those little snippets, like an Easter egg, you never know when it's going to pop up again, and it always tends to.
Right. Even in the Dark Tower, when Roland's right there, he's almost at the tower, and he and Jake get going to that cabin, and who's in there? You have one of those things like The Outsider, like it feeds off of an emotion sort of thing.
Yeah, the
Greg.
Is it for the one from Desperation?
Was it Tack? It might have been Tack.
Yeah, the Tack. I think it's
could have been him.
Because he pops up weird. That sentence pops up quite a few times as well, which is strange. It occasionally pops up really randomly as well. Like
is he one of the wardens of the Crimson King?
Something
possible.
Problem is, I need to reread the Dark Tower. I haven't read them for a while now. It's
90s when I read the first four. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while for me. They're just so long. You have to really strap yourself in. And if you get it as an ebook, you're done, because you've got, well, I think it could stack up to about 1,000+ pages on an ebook.
On your Nook or whatever you got.
Yeah. Well, I use my phone literally, so I'll just use that.
Yeah, that's tough to read on. That's hard on the eyes.
Yeah,
You're okay with it?
I'll put my font up a little bit, and then I can just bang. I'm a pretty fast reader. Yeah, pretty speedy. It's a very good skill to have, reading, especially if you need to do fast researching.
And you have to with your many guests, right?
Yeah. What demons do you believe in? Do you believe in demons?
I do.
I mean, I wouldn't say would you believe in demons, but there's like a good and bad that people believe in the world, and all this shit.
You have yin and yang, right? So you go back to Tao and Confucianism, and it's always going to be there, that sort of cosmic struggle between light and dark sort of thing. And then I think the fun part is trying to figure out where we fit into that. Are we in the center? Do we get to choose? Are we a tipping point sort of thing? What's free will? All that. So I think that they're there. They could be just a part of us, just part of the stories that people used to tell their kids to get them in before the sun went down.
Yeah.
Sort of stuff. The bunyip is in the book. The bunyip was something, I don't know why they made up the bunyip though, to keep their kids away from the water in Australia. Because all you have to do is say there's saltwater crocodiles in there. There's nothing.
Even if there was some, well, I mean, crocodiles are just a different league at the minute, especially in like Florida and shit.
big ones down there. They but maybe the bunyip also would punish people for polluting the rivers, so that might be a part of it. Maybe that was part of why they decided to put that aspect in for their kids. But most of those folk tales are really just cautionary tales about how to behave to not get killed or not be a schmuck. And
Yeah, life lessons.
The demons are just reflections of what we are. Who knows?
It's like Aesop's fables and like the old fairy tales and stuff like that. A lot of them have like pretty moralistic, tales woven into them. But some of those stories are dark as fuck as well, like the fairy Grimm like stories. You ever read any of the originals of them?
The originals are dark. I remember the original Cinderella too. Like the stepsisters are cutting off their toes to jam them in that slipper and all that stuff. I remember those things. It gets pretty dark. Hansel and Gretel alone is terrifying as hell when you think about it.
Yeah.
In the woods, eaten by a crazy old witch.
They abandoned them as well because it's poor. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's not like
couldn't afford their kids, so they left them in the woods.
It's not, and then they try to pin it on the stepmother in the modern version. It's her fault. The dad didn't really want to do it. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. We knew where we was pinning that blame.
As far as like, I can't. If I saw a ring of death's head mushrooms, I wouldn't step in it. Like, do I believe in demons? Do I believe in fairy folk and things of that nature? Keelan Patrick Burke makes it real too. When you read those stories, you start to really think that they're out there. You really do.
It's a strange one to ask if someone believes in it because, it's like, do you believe in ghosts? But if you go, do you believe in demons? That's like, what the fuck?
It's tough. It's sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different areas you can go into where a demon might be lurking, right? So I have to say, I was going to have to, you got a gun to my head. I have to give you an answer. I'm going to go with yes. Now, to what extent they exist is a different matter altogether. Is it metaphysical? Like, are you on a different plane of existence? I don't know.
Even like inner demons, with all these Scientology says,
stealing from the old
but all these
of the anti. Sorry, you saying?
Well, obviously Scientology just says that obviously they sucked up all these bad emotions and then they flooded out into the world and then went into people, and that's almost like demons and bad energies, and it's the same kind of thing. Not like Hellraiser demons or anything like that. I don't think the Cenobites are real.
No, the guy that steals from the Goodwill dude with those kinds of demons.
Yeah. Like, people have inner demons, but they could be like physically, I don't know. If you've ever seen the film, what's it called? It's got Denzel Washington in.
That's a good one.
It's
called
Fallen. Yeah, like that kind of demon.
The namesake Azazel is also a character in the book, and he's a jumper in Fallen, and they do a good job in that movie too of making it freaky. Great twist ending too, which we shouldn't spoil for the people who haven't seen it. Nobody knows about Fallen. Fallen's a hidden gem. John Goodman's in it too.
Yep.
If you don't have anything to do tonight, find that movie.
Fallen is even the little door, it's the Doors, isn't it, that do the song? Time is on my side.
Yeah, they nailed it with that and like Mothman Prophecies and stuff like that. You could watch those back to back to back.
It's cool whenever you in that film as well. Whenever you'd hear that, you'd know what's going on, and then you'd get that like weird little red sort of vision. I don't want to give too much away. Yeah,
true. As far as like things like that where you can be possessed, that's so Christian. That's like all Christian. So I don't know how much of that is in the older traditions, because Christianity is not terribly old compared to the Eastern ones.
Oh no.
And things like that. There's a lot of people who think Jesus went for a walk to India to learn Buddhism and Hinduism, like some shamanistic things, and then he came back with like the full picture in his head sort of thing. It's a lot of people
missing years anyway of his life, which
right. There's Dan Brown. He went and had a family. There's The other people think that, yeah, he's like, ah, Mary Magdalene, you're not so bad. But who
Well,
knows?
obviously, he was just a carpenter for those years, wasn't he? That's what he was. He was just busy making chest of drawers and, setting up the IKEA of the Jerusalem times. People will come far and wide for his handmade goods.
Yeah, exactly.
His wicker baskets were second to none. They were. That's what I've heard.
Okay. It's a nice add-in right there.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. To be honest, it's tough with that question. There's so many different traditions with so many different types.
I mean, even like the Chinese have demons and stuff. You spoke about obviously different countries. There's like China has really strange demons. They're like, I mean,
they have some cool ones.
Yeah, they do have some cool ones, but most of them are all they're kind of strange and hella scary. Like
A little scary. They have a lot of they're really into the mental games. If you just look into the Chinese New Year, everything has to do with something coming to kill you. Fireworks and the color red are to ward off a monster that was supposed to show up every New Year and rip apart the village, and they couldn't figure out how to stop it. Some old guy shows up and says, "No, just make loud noises." He hates that, and they solve that problem. Demons are coming and giving kids bad dreams.
Yeah,
money in under the pillow for the kids.
Same for like the Japanese as well. It's the same. They have quite a lot of like water demons and weird excuse me, I can't think of any now to mind.
And Tengu is a big one.
Oh yeah.
Also in the second book, and Tengu looks an awful lot like an angel. In some of the artistic renditions, they have the pictures of the wings and stuff. They have there's a poem with one Yuki Onna. She is like a winter one. She frees you to death. They have a ton of the ones that they made into the movies. The Grudge. I forget which one.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I was thinking of, but I couldn't remember the original name. Do you know? Don't know if this is a real one, but what about Aku? Samurai Jack.
Oh, nice. No, the main bad guy. My friend would kick my butt right now for not on that immediately. He's the biggest Samurai Jack fan.
Yeah, that killed it, Samurai Jack. That was one of my favorite animations. It was
So you watched when it came back out, right?
So they got
new episodes recently, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they finally closed it, so to speak.
Oh.
They made I think they did 10. It was okay. The originals were good, but even then there was like some side stories that didn't really follow on, and some of the characters were a bit shit, but
That's old school.
I mean, old school.
The writer was like our age, no, younger. He was like in his 20s when we were watching his kids, wasn't he? Is he younger? What's his name? I saw him on Adult Swim. They showed a picture of him once when I was like 17. I was like, that's the guy who made Samurai Jack?
Yeah, he's he recently did another one as well called Primeval, which was
I did see Primeval. It makes sense with the animation style.
What's his I want to say he is Ukrainian or Polish. He's from it might even be Russian. It's from somewhere. That's probably why I can't remember his name.
Listeners crazy with all these hanging thoughts.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I love about the show. People will have to do the research themselves.
Google it, guys. Use the phone.
I mean, you said it yourself earlier. People ask too many questions. Well, we don't provide them.
I like the questions. I just think that it's don't leave them unanswered. You've got the means, and you should have the ability to sift through the bullshit too. What's viable and what's not. And if you don't, you probably know somebody who does. Then you can ask the questions, I get.
Yeah, there's probably not many people who don't know like who that guy is when listening to my show. They'll
yeah, true.
It's my fan base, I'm sure, probably is very niche. There's not many people that like it. Well, there is, but there's quite a lot of people that like cartoons and supernatural shit and whatever. But how many people can put up with listening to me talk for X amount of time? Or
not too bad. I was trying to get a feel for the format. Some people have like a strict sort of show.
Yeah.
And I was, taking a listen to yours and the conversation-based ones, and people who just give a shit and just talk about what they're interested in. Those are the best podcasts.
Well, the reason I just let it flow is because it's just a conversation that way, you know, and you get to know people and you're not structured. And I mean, there's, you know, I'll still do some research and get a couple of notes, most of which are on, you know, these pieces of folded notes, post-it notes.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know, like a long form, loose conversation.
Yeah.
You can talk about anything. You never know what might pop up. It's full of surprises. You just don't know. And you also get real people's opinions on things as well. If you go into a show preloaded, knowing what's going to happen, yeah, a lot of people can put on that fake shit.
That's true. I'm going to lose 5 female listeners that you were joking about in the last episode I listened to. When you hear me bash on Skarsgård and say, I'm done with this guy right away.
Yeah, my female one goes up, a little bit up and a little bit down. It's a very strange one. I don't know what they're listening for.
Well, they haven't found you yet. The ones that are going to like the show.
Yeah, they're somewhere. They're somewhere. They're in like a dark room somewhere. They're there. I don't know what they're doing. Couldn't imagine. They're probably folding up pieces of tinfoil to make into a hat themselves.
There you go.
Sitting in the dark playing with Lego or some shit. Some of them makes no sense whatsoever.
As long as they're not stepping on them.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. It's the worst pain a human can endure, stepping on a Lego in the dark.
Yeah. Well, I think we're about at almost 2 hours. So I think
we're getting there.
I think we can literally almost round it up.
All right.
Well, it's been a very fun conversation. It's been very fun. I'll have to come on. Well, you haven't got a podcast. Damn it.
I don't, but I'll hit you again when the second book's coming out and try to talk your ear off for another 2 hours.
No, absolutely. You need to get some headphones and even a gaming headset.
Yeah,
they're cheap and cheerful, and they work very well. Is this going to be
too spacious sounding? Too much echo?
Yeah, there's been a lot of echo, but it's okay. Makes no difference. People will still listen. I don't give a shit.
All right, I hope so. But I had to read
way worse. But listen, where can people follow you before I close it up?
All right, so the book launches in October. October 11th is the soft launch date. Looking like we'll be able to hit that goal. So if you want to keep up on all of the myths, folklore, things like that are going to pop up in the book, you can head to the website, readkearns.com. Sign up to be on the email list. I'm going to do some giveaways. I'm going to send out some signed editions. If I do blow, you'll make some money to retire early. Who knows?
Yeah.
And just if you like these kinds of stories, they pace well. They're authentic. It's character driven. The first one's kind of plot driven. It's getting character driven. You can enjoy characters, good banter, and yeah.
I'll have to take one of them signed books. I'll happily pay for it. It's one thing I'm personally doing. Every author I speak to, I want a book. I want a whole shelf of just all guest books. I'll pay for the shipping and all that shit and the book itself. Something again that I'm personally doing. Just because I've got.
Do you want the advanced reader copy signed edition? That's where people really get.
Oh yeah.
On the Antique Roadshow.
They
like goes out of the chest. What's this worth?
How'd you know that show? That's the most English thing I've heard so far by an American. There's been Love Island, Geordie Shore, EastEnders, but I've not had a Antiques Roadshow yet.
Okay. Nice. I'm glad to be the first. It's a good note to end on, right?
Yeah. Well, this has been the Post-Human Podcast. I've been your host, Tim Turner. Tonight we've been here with Martin Kearns. Take it easy and we'll catch you next time, people.
Take care.